What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Ill Estate Podcast. Today we have the one and only Tony Gamboa. Tony, what's up, man? Introduce yourself to the listeners, to the crowd. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do.
What's going on, bro? This is Tony Gamboa right here. Been in the real estate game for probably about like 12 years as an agent, probably about going on 6. I used to do appraisals back in the day, right when the market crashed. I was doing that for like 5.5 years, so probably about 12 years.
You were that one guy that either people loved or hated when it came to the appraisal, right?
Yeah, Tony, hey, I'll give you extra money, boost up the value. Oh, nah, we can't do that.
Hey, so
I'm not one of those guys.
You know what, Tony? I'm gonna get right into it, bro. So how's that work, man? Because most people don't even know like what an appraisal is or how that works. Back in the day, did people slide like some money under the rug and say, "Hey, Tony, put a little bit more"?
People try to do it all the time, but with the family, when I had a son back in the day. Now I have 2. My wife, I was trying to do things right. I was actually trying to be an appraiser and do things right. And I had a mentor, and he said, "Tony, you got to just do everything right. People are getting busted left and right. Don't take no money. I'm going to show you a legit way to do it." And it was cool, but people had me go to like Bakersfield, and I used to charge them $1,000. I was like, "Hey, I can go get your report, do it today, and have it to you tomorrow, and charge $1,000. People will pay it."
Yeah.
So obviously, as appraisals, they don't work for the buyer, they don't work for the seller. Obviously, they work for the bank.
Right. So for the people listening, an appraisal, it's a full report. It's not like a simple one-page report. How long would it take you, man, to work on that?
A couple hours. We get active, pending, was sold in the neighborhood, go for the past 6 months. We try to compare with the subject property, square footage, bedrooms, bathrooms, car garage, 2-car, 3-car garage, pool, no pool. Does it back a railroad? Is it next to a school? There's a lot of factors that come into play.
So what would you say for the people who are looking for like an investment home, right? What are the top 3 things they should stay away from when looking to buy an investment property?
I would stay away from like backing a railroad.
Okay.
Back a railroad, it's probably like $20,000, negative $20,000, or when you're buying a property on a main street, they deduct about like $20,000 on the main street, or right next to a school. It might not be that much, but those are the 3 things that you probably want to stay away from.
So it actually brings the value down when you're close to a school?
Well, kind of, because if it's right in front of the school, there's all kinds of traffic.
Right.
But if it's a back of like a railroad, like we can hear a railroad. Like
what about an airport?
Airport too. Yeah, airport too. All that matters.
So right now, so you just let us know you were an appraiser before you became an agent. What else do you do? What's Tony Gamboa do now?
As far as an agent wise, I'm trying to so say over again, like you're trying what I do today, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just an agent, bro. Like I'm like everybody else.
He says it in the most humble way. I'm just an agent. Nah, man, this guy's a killer. He's an assassin. I've been following a lot of his work he's been doing. So you currently have a team as well, right? So it's not just your solo production. You also have a team as well.
Right. I have my nephew. I have my brother-in-law. So I like to teach the hybrid model. So I don't just teach people how to buy and sell real estate. We wholesale deals. We flip houses, creative financing. Got a couple mentors, good mentors. So I try to have different avenues to make money. Basically.
Okay. So it's not just, you don't just help people buy or sell, then you also doing the flips, the wholesaling game.
Right.
And then you're doing the wholesaling. Wholesaling is where I hear like a lot of people are trying to go into or tapping into nowadays.
Yeah, a lot of people are also trying to be YouTubers too, YouTube wholesalers.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but it's just diving in there, having the right systems come into play. I had Ty, Adrian had some pretty cool mentors that showed me the ropes, the ins and outs.
Okay.
So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of grinding, and it's calling people. It's a lot of systems coming to play.
Right.
There's a lot of money to be thrown out there, but there's also a lot of money to be made too.
Now, Tony, yo soy bien chismoso, como decimos allá en mi rancho, no? I want to know a little bit of everything, bro. So you've been in the industry as a realtor, though, for how long?
It's going to be about 6 years.
6 years. And you're killing, dominating the game. If we go back before real estate, we go back before being an appraiser, what did you do prior?
Oh, shit, man. I had experience in sales my whole life since I was like 16. So 26, 36.
What was the first sales job? Where did
their
baby Tony come out?
Foot Locker.
Okay.
Foot Locker 15 came in, sold all kinds of shoes, worked for Champ Sports. And then after that, some guy from Bally Total Fitness says, "Hey man, you're pretty good talking. You have pretty good some sales skills. You want to work for Bally Total Fitness?" This is the gym, man. I don't work out.
Were you this swole like you were back then?
Nah, I'm not even swole. No, I used to play sports, but it wasn't that big or nothing like that. So I went in the fitness game and I just killed it. I was assistant manager. And a manager, district manager.
And what would they look at to promote you? If you're working at a gym, you were like what, in the front desk?
I was in sales.
Okay.
So Bally Total Fitness, I was trying to sell $3,000-$4,000 memberships, man, back in the day.
Wow.
They teach us how to overcome price, money, commitment, time, and we just break it all down. So I used all those skills coming to real estate. So what does that look like? Trying to negotiate for the house for my buyers, negotiating for sellers. It was a big factor for me. It was a smooth transition for me. For sure.
Right. So then you go from working at selling shoes, which was also a hustle. You actually had to sell. Did you guys have like a quota you guys have to hit?
No, well, they just said, hey, well, whoever's selling shoes is going to get the most hours and commission. So my ass was there slanging every single day. Just had to go out there and just sell as much as I can.
So you start there, Valley's, and then you go to Valley Center. You go to
Total Fitness,
and then you start selling memberships. You get promoted to district manager. So then you were teaching other people how to sell.
Yeah, I was teaching how to about I would say 150, 200 people.
Okay.
I would go around and teach them how to sell. How to overcome obstacles, basically, how to talk, how to communicate, how to bring the wall down of comfort. Because people, when you come in, they're like, oh shit, but I'm not gonna buy nothing, or I'm not gonna pay for that much.
I'm just looking.
Yeah, I'm just looking. I want to see how much it is. Like, you want to be able to, have a good communication. You want to be able to connect with them. You want to be able to feel their vibe. Right. And then once you know their ins and outs, then you can be like, okay, what do you want to do? How could I help you? So I brought this in the real estate game in my first year. I sold 19 houses my first year.
Nice.
So
that's what's funny, guys. I didn't know Tony, right? I didn't know who you were. And right now that you just said 19 homes, when they told me about you, they're like, man, you got to meet Tony. This guy reminds me a lot about you. My first year, that's exactly how many houses I sold. 19 my first year.
Nice.
So good shit, man. Killing it.
Yeah, you too, bro.
So Tony, for the people watching, you just talked about something that the biggest lesson you learned was how to overcome those objections and how to connect with people. So what are like the key components to that, right? So if somebody's watching and they're an agent, they're struggling, they feel like they can't build that connection, how do you overcome the objections and how do you connect with people on that level?
Ask questions. If you stop worrying about yourself and start worrying about them, what they want, what they need, ask questions, and then they feel like you actually give a shit. You care. You care about them. Hey, Tony cares about me, but mine wants my. It's not about me. It's about you. And once you can figure that out, then you're able to help them out whichever direction they're going to go into. So yesterday I took a listing. I was in LA and I was the underdog, and I got a listing and they were like, Tony, what can you do different? How are you going to do different? Or, hey, why don't you just lower your commission like the other one? I said, I'm not a discount agent. Why don't you go with them and ask them? If I'm so easy to drop my commission, drop my money, what makes you think I'm so easy to drop your money? And the guy was like, let's go. But there was a big wall, and that's a different conversation. But I'm talking about the wall of comfort of that when you walk into their home, it was a huge vibe where it's like, I'm gonna listen to you, but I ain't gonna sign shit. Right. You know what I mean? So I want to see what you're about first, versus the other people that I came in, and are you a good fit for us? And I was just asking questions, and then once
let's give them the nuggets, right? For people watching, I mean, if you're a realtor, trust me, you want to stay tuned. What are the top 3 questions you ask a seller when looking to list a property?
What's their motivation? Why do they want to sell? Where are you going to go? What are you going to do? How are you going to get there? Do you have a game plan? So I'm able to help you try to figure out that game plan so you're not all over the place.
Right.
I want to be able to have a good game plan so we can go in that direction and we can slide in very easily rather than not knowing where we're going. Some people want, let me just put your house for sale. No, let's get you pre-qualified. Let's figure out what neighborhoods you want to go to. let's figure all that out, because
It's to see if it's even working.
right. Does it make sense for you? You know, so, and then once you're able to talk to them like that, and they're just like us,
Right.
you know, because, you know, if you have commission breath, then you're like everybody else.
Right.
But
What
if you're
makes you-
actually in there asking them, talking to them about them and what they want, what they're going to do, what's their plans, and help them, they're willing to open up and tell you, because if you can tell if someone's real with you or not, you know.
Right.
I have a gift of that, and you know, some people will be in tune with you, some people won't be in tune with you, but
Right.
just be honest, you know, because what goes around comes around. So
Exactly.
you know, my name means everything for me, so it's like, hey, if Tony's go out there, I'm gonna try to go out of my way.
Right. So Tony, you went from 19 homes the first year. What would the second year look like?
24,
Nice.
third year 28,
Okay.
yeah,
What was the fourth year like?
31.
So it's been scaling up every
Right.
single year.
Right.
Even when they say it got more challenging, like right now, what do you think you're going to hit this year?
It's actually, but production did go down for many different reasons, but that's throughout the whole industry. Hoping to do at least 19,
Okay.
you know, do a 19.
And when did you start the flips?
I started the flips about like a couple years ago when I was doing the Ryan Pineda program.
Okay.
So I did the Ryan Pineda program, learned how to do flips, mastered that, and then I wanted to learn how to do wholesaling. So I went to Ty, I went to Adrian, went to their went to Masterminds, got in their program, learned how to do wholesaling too.
Right.
So and right now we gotta try to make as much money as we can any way we can. You know?
Right.
So when I go in there and talk to a seller, I'm not just wearing my realtor hat.
Right.
You know, because, you know, what about if they can give them a cash offer?
Right.
Or, you know, maybe that might not work for them. Maybe
But
what
no
about
data.
this avenue? You go here, you're able to pivot and shift.
Right.
Most people can't, but if once you learn the game and you know how to do that, then you know how to help people a little bit more.
So more than anything, what for you guys listening, what Tony is doing, he's giving them options, right? So most agents come in with only one option. So you're going ahead and laying on the table every single option, and you're letting them pick what's most convenient for you, and you actually have all the tools necessary to go ahead and give them what they want.
Right.
So Tony, you mentioned something right now, which most agents sometimes they just don't do it, or they won't pull the trigger. They know it's the way to go, but they just won't do it. Who was the first coach and mentor that you hired? And how early in the real estate industry were you? Because you just mentioned you did the Ryan Pineda program. You did the Ty Lopez. So
Ty Figueroa. He's up north.
Which one was the first one that you went with?
Oh, man. I had Sean Akoska. I had him several years back.
So you had just became a realtor and you started paying for coaching and mentoring?
Yeah, because I actually I went on my own right away. You know, I had a really good friend that brought me back in the industry, and I left to go on my own. So everything that they're doing, from what I've seen that people are teaching, I've been learning that since I was 14 years old. So now what I'm doing is like, hey, I can do this.
Right.
I can do it on my own. I don't need the big brokerage. I don't need the gala parties. I don't need all the trophies.
Right.
It was cool, but at the end of the day, it's like, what are you doing for your business? What are you doing for yourself? So I had an audience behind me. I had a lot of good people that supported me. Right. So I went out there and I was like, okay, well, let me try to get a private coach. Let me try to figure out what I need personally to help me grow. Cater to me.
Right.
And then I just ran with it. And ever since then, I've just been on my own. You know, it's okay, you know. But I also know how important it is to surround yourself with bigger people than yourself too as well.
Right. And what has been one of the biggest challenges you faced?
There's a lot of different challenges, you know, as far as like learning, growing, discipline, being at the office every single day, making phone calls. I never used to make phone calls, but now I do, you know. So it's just getting in there and doing the work now.
Right.
You know, I had a big circle of influence, and I still do.
Right.
But how I'm able to catapult myself to the next level, I got to start doing things that most people are not willing to do. They're not willing to put in the work. You know, so I work 7 days a week, you know. And some people are like, screw that, I don't want to work on Sundays or I don't work on Saturdays. But where do you want to be?
Yeah.
You know, how much money do you want to make? Where do you want to go? Because I have goals for myself and I have goals for my family. So in order for my family to get there, I got to make sure I'm taking care of what I got to do too.
So for the people watching, what are like some of the goals that Tony has in place right now?
Well, just like you're the king of rentals, right? You want to own a bunch of doors. I see you killing it, bro.
I'm trying.
So that's a question for you. Like, as far as like, I'm trying to get to that level, even where you're at.
Right.
So when I look up to you, I look up to a lot of different people in the industry, and I see that, like, damn, like, I want to hurry up and get there. But what I've noticed is it takes time.
It does.
It's patience.
Yeah.
Like, we're so fast to try to hurry up and get there, where we got to slow back down, assess what we have going on,
Right.
and then make sure we're able to or take ourselves into that next level.
Right.
You know, and that's the biggest thing that I'm trying to learn for myself too. Like, why is this guy have 20 different doors and I only have a certain amount?
Right.
You know, what am I doing wrong? But at the same time, it's just, you probably been there 10, 15 years ago, and I'm barely starting. So I get it. I understand.
Yeah, one of my coaches was like, hey, Carlos, so what's the rush? Because I was the same way, right? I'm like, dude, like, I would talk to people that had 100, 200 doors. And then I would be like, dude, like, how are they doing 200 doors? Like, I don't have shit.
Yeah.
And then he goes, Carlos, like, are you racing somebody? Like, what's going on? Because I would talk to him about it and be like, how do I get from here to here? He goes, well, you got to fumble along the way and you're going to learn. And then you'll be able to get there, but it takes time.
Right.
He goes, like, it's not going to happen overnight. So I totally understand where you're coming from. Like, some of the challenges have been being patient with yourself, because I'm the same way. I work 6-7 days a week, and I want to make sure that I kill it. But the same way, I expect results right away.
Right.
I want to get there. Like, I'll do the grind. I have no problem grinding 10, 12-hour days, like nothing. But
yeah, I see you.
Yeah, but the problem is it's that part, right? Like, hey, I'm working on a Saturday. I'm working on a Sunday. When it comes to the flips, what has been your biggest challenge there?
Contractors, you probably know the same thing, right? You're flipping contractors, finding good people. Just not just contractors, roofers, anybody to go out there. It's just electricians, just finding good people. It's hard to find good people. I'm pretty sure you could relate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the.
Do you have any horror stories?
A couple here and there.
Which one's been the worst one?
Oh man, I had
the one that you're like, oh shit.
I did a flip in Highland, which was one of my investment properties, and I walk in the pad, and these guys don't even have shirts on, bro. Like, their shirts are off. And they're just like, just going out there scraping the roof. I was like, what are you guys doing? Like, 2, 3, we don't have no shirts on this day. You guys, had some beer outside. Like, this is not a place we're just going to kick back. You know what I mean? Yeah. So what happened at the end of the day, I let them finish their job, and I said, hey, you know what? Here's your part, and you guys got to go. He got all pissed off at me. What happened? So I said, how would you like if someone went in your house with their shirts off and just did whatever they want to do? Yeah. So it's not working out, so I had to let them go. But walking into something like that, you're like, what the hell is going on here? So that's, that was pretty crazy. And
then how is it when you got to let go of the people?
I really don't care.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose no sleep over it, because at the end of the day, they know what they did. They know what they're doing.
Right.
And if they were on their game and they were doing what they're supposed to be doing, they probably would still be working with me today.
So when you're doing a flip now and you're talking to, do you get different bids from contractors, or you go with the first one? You already have a crew that you trust now, or?
Yeah, I have a crew that I trust. We'll get a couple of different bids just to see where they're at.
Right.
And it just depends though too. Like, do we got to get this done fast, or how much? What's the time frame on this?
Right.
And I know every day costs money, so we try to get things done as fast as we can. But sometimes going with certain people, you don't want a sloppy ass job either.
Right.
So
right now with where you're at right now, do you think you're going to go more into transactions? Do you think you're going to go more into the flips, more into the wholesaling? Really good question. Like, what's Tony working on? Because Tony is always up to something.
This guy. That's a good question. I was telling my wife the other day, no matter what, I'm trying to lead myself in the investor side. I love the investor side of it.
Right.
Going investing, doing flips, wholesaling, rentals, all that stuff. But I have a heart of doing real estate, like selling real estate. Like, I love negotiating with other people.
Right.
I just love that. I don't think I could ever let that go. Some people are like, oh, I don't want to show property. I don't want to do real estate. I'm trying to go investor. I said, okay, that's fine, but I don't think I'm too committed and making relationships for myself and talking to people, and just I'm a people person. I've been a people person since I was 14 years old.
You enjoy talking.
I enjoy. I love it, bro.
Yeah.
I love it. I love communicating, and I love helping people because if there's one thing I can do to help you out, I will. You know, it all comes back to you, right? So what I've learned several years ago, going into this real estate game is looking after the person that you're helping, trying, like I said, answer questions, just being there for them, so they genuinely can feel you're there for them.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that means a lot to me. You know.
So you're year 5 in. If you could talk to year 1 Tony, what would you tell him?
Work your ass off for the next 2 years. Do open houses every weekend. My nephew knows. My brother-in-law knows. Like, what are you doing? The first year, I was only off 1 weekend, and I think that was 2 weekends. I'm sorry, it was Christmas, and it was Thanksgiving. I even worked Thanksgiving, so it was probably Christmas. I only took 1 weekend off, and 6-7 transactions were from open houses.
Right.
So the second year, I remember I took like 3 or 4 weekends off. And I would you gotta grind. You gotta put in the work, especially if you're new.
Yeah.
How you supposed to get business? You gotta meet people. You gotta talk to people. You gotta be networking, right? So show your face. Get out there.
So Tony, you just mentioned something that I think a lot of us have a challenge with at times. You work a lot of weekends. You work 7 days a week. Are you a dad? You're married? Kids?
Yeah, I'm married. I have 2 kids. I have a 20-year-old who'll be 21 in February.
What you having when you were like 12, bro?
21.
So how old are you now?
41.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I have an 8-year-old.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so the 8-year-old, we play golf. We go golfing. He's in a golf club, soccer. Yeah. But I just try to pivot, both boys.
Nice.
Yeah, but I love what I do. And I know there's a big difference of, you have to separate your family from work. And that was the hardest thing for me. I'm trying to learn now. Yeah. I'm trying to be better. But at the end of the day, like we used to dinner and be like, oh, hold on. I got someone calling. They want to say, I got to pick it up. You know what I mean? Or I'll go outside. And to this day, sometimes I still catch myself. Yeah. And it's hard to let that go. Right. You know what I mean? Because I'm so like in tune with my people. Right. So I love it. I love it so much. It just it feeds off me. So.
What do you feel when that phone's ringing and you can't pick it up?
Gives me anxiety.
It's true. It's 100%.
Yeah.
What about like the days that you're like, right, this is an off day. I'm gonna spend it with the family, and like you try not looking at that phone. How does that go? Because this is a real problem that people don't talk about, bro. Like this is keeping it real because it happens to me.
Right.
Like throwing the phone away is the hardest thing. Like seeing that phone.
Or imagine if you lost your phone.
Oh no, I'd go crazy. and not because of like anything is social or anything. It's just I live off this phone. You know what I mean?
Right. It's funny you say that too because me and my wife even last year we go to Cabo every year. I go deep sea fishing. I love fishing.
Nice.
So we go out there and it's just me and her. And it was actually her birthday. We went out there, and she helps me out. She's my TC and stuff like that. And
so she works with you too.
Yeah, she works with me too.
That's dope. Okay.
Yeah. And then I said, hey, babe, we gotta like work this morning. Yeah. We gotta work this morning, and we gotta work tomorrow from like 8. We gotta put in like 4 hours. Yeah. So she understands, but in there we're grinding. I'm on the computer. I'm making phone calls. Blah blah blah. And I say, I'm sorry. I know it's your birthday, but you're like. So she understands we were there for 3-4 days, but the thing about it is we wouldn't be there if it wasn't for what I was doing here. So and it's not always like that. Right. It was just an example. So she supports me.
And do you guys have those talks?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, like that communication piece has got to be the biggest part.
Yeah,
right?
because I know one of my other boys like, oh hell no, you better not take no work nowhere. You know what I mean? So it's just like, okay, and you better not work the weekends. Don't take it, and that's fine. I get it too, but don't complain when you're hurting also as well.
So then I guess the other question comes to mind is like, what keeps Tony motivated? Like, what keeps you going? Like, because I mean, I'm guessing 7 days a week, working even on those days. Like, what fuels you and what keeps you going? Like, what's that motor like?
It's tough. I I think it has to go back how I grew up. Me and my mom, single mom, from place to place, always working, trying to survive. I think that's the best way. But trying to survive, trying to hurry up and get things going, get things moving, and I've been like that my whole life. So coming into this it ain't nothing new,
right?
And people, some people get anxiety not knowing when they're not going to get paid next,
right?
You know what I mean?
But for you, it's like, I know I'm going to get it. I just got to grind.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out.
I just got to do the work. I got to figure it out.
Yeah.
Like this past month, bro, like I was telling people like, oh, I don't do open houses. This. I wasn't doing, I used to do them a lot, and then I stopped doing it. And I was like, you know what? I got to go out there and get it because this is ridiculous. I should be selling more right now. Within the past 30 days, I did 3 weekends of open houses, caught 2 sellers. One, I have one on the market right now. I just signed the contract yesterday, and I got 3 buyers. 5 new connections that I made
from putting in that work.
From putting just go to open houses.
Going back, you're not reinventing the wheel. You're just doing what you know already works.
Right. Yeah.
So do you like listen to anything? Do you do podcasts? Do you do books? Like what's like a day in of Tony Gamboa look like?
I'm gonna be honest with you because we're being on 100. It's
right.
hard for me to read, and I'm trying to be better at that.
Right.
And I do listen in Grant Cardone. I do start doing some audios. But I just picked up the book, the Millionaire Next Door. I just read that, and I have it on my my nightstand. So I'm trying to get more in tune of reading that, or when I'm on the road, I'll listen to podcasts, and just try to get myself in the right mindset. Because once I start shifting start shifting a different direction, or not going to church or other stuff, it just shit starts to happen in different ways where it's like it's no good.
Yeah. So do you have like a routine down?
I do. I wake up in the morning, I go to the gym, I come back, I try to be at the office by like between 8:30 and 9 a.m.
And so what time you go to the gym?
Give or take 6. I used to go 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30 every day, but I was like, there's no sense of that. So I try to get there like at 6:30, 6 o'clock, come back, and then try to be at the office at 8:39, start making phone calls. So I never used to make phone calls, and now I'm making phone calls. But
and is it working out for you?
Yeah, it's actually, I was calling absentee owners. Okay. You know what absentee owner is, right?
Yes.
So I got 2 listing appointments in Palm Springs next month. So
Tony, where are you from, man? I know you live in Rancho now.
Right.
But where do you grow up?
Originally grew up in Amani.
Okay.
Right there in by Royal High School.
Okay.
So I was there for a minute. And then I was actually lived all over the place. From 1st grade to 8th grade, I went to 8 different middle schools. Alhambra, Monrovia, Duarte, Amani, West Covina, La Puente. I even went to San Bernardino one time and came back. So
hopping around there.
Mom said we got to pick up, we got to go, son. We're gonna go stay over here. We got to go stay over here. So that's how I was able to have a big circle of influence too.
Right.
I was like, shit, okay, I know all the homies in Arcadia,
La
Puente, West Covina, Ballin Park. My parents said, how do you know all these people?
I was everywhere.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Not in a good way, but shit, I made friends everywhere.
Like your network is what they say, right? Your network is your net worth. So the more people you know, those are all like people you're going to end up either working with, or they might know somebody that's want to work with you.
Right. And just keep in contact with them. Just be cool. So. And
then from the gym, I'm guessing like when you were a manager, district manager, you met a bunch of people at the gym signing them up.
Yeah, like I would say out of the 19 houses I sold, at least like 6 of them were from the gym. Yeah.
Now, is it easier to sell to family and friends or people that you don't know?
It don't matter to me. It don't. It's just like it don't matter. For me, it's the same thing.
Right.
Yeah. But I'll go if a family wants to go sell their house, which it happens several times to me. I'll go dressed up in a suit and go suited up and everything. And Tony, you don't have to come to my house in a suit. I know who you are. Well, why should I treat you different?
Right.
And then the next person, I treat you the same. Everything we're doing is the same thing. It's the same thing I do for everybody else. So why are you different?
Right.
Just because you're family? No, I'm giving you the service that you deserve.
You're right. I'm not going to treat it any less or any different. Exactly. That's good, bro. So, what are some of the things that you like to do when you're not working?
Like,
right now with the team, what's the plans on the team? Are you thinking about expanding? Thinking about growing?
Not really, to be honest with you. I'm more figuring out right now. We got to put systems in play. We got to really dive in, because when you have a lot of people on your team,
right?
You know, even it hurts you in your business. People say, I know a lot of people right now, they have big teams and their personal business suffers. Like, I just want to be able to have a small squad. We're grinders, we're hustlers. Right. We know how to do everything. We know we're able to help cater to different people. Right. You know, investors, you know, whoever it is. Right. We know how to pivot, and we know how to help people in different ways. So that's great, it. Man. That's it. Just keep it small, tight, and then go just kill it.
If you were to drop one thing for the person watching and say, hey, this is what I would personally work on and develop, what would that be?
Follow-up game. If I had the follow game I have right now, when I first started the first 2 years, there must have been at least $150,000 lost out there that I did not make or I lost because my follow game sucked. So follow-up game is everything. When you go meet people, open houses, whatever you're doing, follow up. Talk to them. Follow up. Put them on your CRM. Keep talking to them. Send them email. Send them texts. You know, happy birthday. Whatever it is, follow up. That's big.
Guys, you heard it, man. We could only have a short time today, so this is part one. There's definitely going to be a part two to Tony. Tony, thank you so much for being out here, man. Till next time, guys. I'm going to drop a handle where you guys can go follow his page. Nothing but good stuff with Tony.